Alright, it's March 20th, just doing the weekly update here. Sitting in the big Chaparral Boat. Just was going to go over the amp rack we got put in here. As you can see, we got the amp rack all mounted in, screwed in with these aluminum brackets. And then there's another mount up here that's not quite screwed in yet. That way we can kind of move it in and out to get these plugs in and out. These here are all the speaker wires. We're putting those into these Deutsch connectors, which will plug right into the factory plugs here on the JL amps. So that way if they need to be serviced. This center amp was a factory amp that was in here that was running all the speakers. So this is 6-channel. It's running 2 speakers in the cockpit and 4 speakers in the bow. This is in an 8-channel. This one is going to be bridged down to 4 channels, and I believe it's going to be running the cockpit speakers up by the driver. There's 4 there, and then this one here I believe is going to be doing the it's also an 8-channel. It'll be running 4 tower speakers, so we'll bridge it down to 4 channels to get the most power out of it. And then all these HD amps below, each one of those will go to a 13W7. So we have 4 13W7s going in. So those 4 amps, you see all these wires here. These are for all the color change lights and all the speakers. These are the subwoofer wires, so we'll get those down into the correct amplifiers. Over here, we did get the, this is where the factory subwoofer used to be. So we cut this out and then made a spot for, this is the brain for the JL Audio head unit, and then epicenter to go to the subwoofer amps. So this actually lights up all inside too. This piece will be an accent piece in maybe like a wood grain or something to match the dash. So once we get all the amplifiers wired up, what we're going to do is we're going to hook up just maybe 2 batteries down here, and then we're going to put an amp clamp on them to see how much power these are pulling at full volume, and just kind of do an average, you know, with different music so we can see the amount of current that it's pulling, and then we're going to size the battery bank accordingly. So once we figure out how much it's pulling in real-time use, you know, in real-world use, not, you know, if we wanted to, we could go off, these have a 100-amp fuse, you know, there's 400 amps, these are 80, but it's not pulling that all the time. So we're going to see what it actually uses and then make the bank accordingly. One other thing that we need to install is we're going to put in a power inverter charger. I think we're going to do a Victron charger and inverter, so that way he will have 110 power on the boat also, in case like he wants to run a blender or something cool when he's out on the lake. And then it'll also act as the battery charger for the house batteries and the starter battery. So you can see here we shaved down the box for the GT. This fits quite a bit better in there now. Now we're going to make some templates of these side angles here, so that we can cut those out and have a template to make on the vinyl before we do this sew up. There'll be some seams that go down these parts right here. I think I showed in the last video, we got these parts back from powder coating. These are some more trim panels we got made that'll meet up to the box that goes down the center. These will bolt in to the factory spots here, kind of like this one did. So kind of gives it that factory look. Another thing that I don't think I mentioned is this plate right here was a metal plate so that they can get to like the pulleys and stuff like that of the supercharger. We didn't want to sound deaden to the factory plate, so we recreated a new plate. We took the old one out we traced it on our digitizing board, and then put it into CAD, and then we cut a new one out of aluminum, and then we sound skinned the new one. So that way if this plate needs to come out and the factory one needs to go back in, it can. So everything will go back to stock. So there's no sound deadening to the factory parts. So that piece will go there. That box fits in here really nice. It kind of flows with the seat now that we kind of did the cutback, and gives a little bit more room for when you're shifting. Your elbow's not hitting the box as much. One other little trim piece here mounts this factory bolts, so turning out pretty good. We should have this thing all finished up hopefully by beginning to mid of next week, and then we'll do a full video build on it and see how she sounds. Oh, couple other things is, I think I mentioned that this mirror needed to be modified. The thing was, you couldn't bring this all the way up. It didn't adjust enough, so Mark tore this apart, and then he kind of beveled this part of the metal out so that it could go up a little bit further, closer to the headliner. And then also put a couple LEDs on the bottom. So those work as the dome lights and then the courtesy lights. And we're going to do a switch under the dash for the courtesy lights. And that's what those black wires are there. So we'll put those on a switch so that if they did want to turn on the courtesy lights without having the door open, it should be easy to do. Anyway, that's all we got going today. So maybe next week we'll have this GT finished up, and we'll have a little bit more video to go over next week. So thanks for watching. See you next time.